All right, good morning out there at Deep Run. It's a little warm here today. I'm actually recording this late in the evening, but it's a little warm, so I decided to forego my customary jacket, so you get to see me in a little different look here. Today I'm going to talk about configuring a splash page and banner ads, if that's something that you want to explore for your site, and we'll look at a couple of ways to do that. Something that's kind of changed over time. What we used to do as banner ads on websites is kind of passé now, and people don't appreciate that as much, and so we've come up with some different ways to do those, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Before I get into that, I'm going to start off and talk about the display order. We talked in the last lecture about how to do product searches and search for products in MB Store, and today we're going to talk about the display order and how things are displayed in your store when people access your site. And so we're going to start off with that because I've had some student questions about that specific topic, so I'm going to go ahead and try to cover that first. And those three main topics that I'll talk about today will be on the quiz that will be on Monday. That was originally going to be last week, and I moved it because of your CIT projects, and then I was going to do it this Friday, but half or more of you are probably going to be out for AP testing on Friday. So we will do that on Monday. So expect a quiz in Monday morning in this class. It'll be on Canvas. It'll be probably closer in structure to the last one. I'm thinking I'm going to do true-false again as opposed to multiple choice. We'll see. But it'll be one or the other. I don't typically go beyond that for this level of class. So if you're in one of my graduate classes, you would have all essay answers that I would have to grade, but I typically don't do that in undergraduate university classes. So that's what you should expect. Lecture, I think it's 16 and 17 anyway. This one and the one talking about product search options, that's what I will draw. That's the only two lectures that I will draw from for the last quiz that we will have. So I'm going to bring up a DNN site here. Bring up my DNN site. Put it up here on the screen for you. And actually, before I get into the three main topics for today, there's one other thing I want to mention. I've had some folks selecting, they wreck their site essentially by selecting the back office theme. If you do like I'm about to do, don't do this. So don't go under admin and go to site settings, and under appearance you can set a site theme, and you can see mine set to a host theme called Zillion Inner. People have been testing different themes, and that's fine. You can test different things and try to do stuff with them. But what you don't want to do here is select this theme right here, the InBright Store BO theme. This is a special theme. The only thing that it's used for, and it must be used for this, is it's used to create that back office content that you use for your web store. If you select this as your site theme, every page in your site will be the back office of your web store. And you won't be able to go to your product catalog, you won't be able to go to your home page, you won't be able to go to anything else. all you will get is that one page. So don't do that. And so don't select that, and don't select that as a page theme for other pages. The only place it's ever used is you have a back office page. Let me go to page management here. You have within your admin menu, you have the MBS back office page that you created. This page must have that InBright Store back office selected as its, and here you see it as its page theme. That's the only place that particular theme needs to be used, and the only place it can be used. Otherwise, it's going to cause problems, and you're going to have to contact me to get that resolved, more than likely. So be aware of that. Don't make that mistake. A couple of groups have made that issue. So typically, I don't spend a lot of time in class with my college students talking about how to promote their products and how to create sales. I let them experiment with that kind of on their own. But within the back office, there is something in here that we can use. There's a promotions section down here where we can create vouchers, groups, and multi-buy promotions. That's the three types of promotions that the developers of MB Store have set up for us. And if we look at these different types of promotions, a voucher is essentially what most people call a promo code. And so we could add a promo code and say, you know, we'll have 5 off, and we'll give it a name. We can give it a description. For me, I'm just going to put it in here, the same thing. I can set dates that it's valid, so I'll say from today it's valid, and it's going to be a percentage. Percentage is 5%, and the usage limit, I'm going to say this can be used 100 times. Typically, we don't allow promo codes to be used forever. We limit them to a certain number. So we might put in our description and I could probably clean that up and make it a little prettier, but you get the idea. I have a promo code there. And it is active. Doesn't show that it's being used yet. The other type, we're not going to do the multi-buy. I'm not going to go into that. But I have one that I've created here under the group vouchers. You can experiment with the multi-buy if you want. It's a little more complicated, so certainly no problem with that. So what I've done is I've created a very much like I did on the other one, but when it says a group, I have a product group or a product category. So I have a cool stuff category, and in my case, the cool stuff category only has one item in it. It has a little USB Type-C adapter in it. It's the only thing in there. And so I titled it Memorial Day Savings. I said I'm going to give a 20% discount from May 7th to June 1st. And you have this process sequence. What you don't want is to have 10 different promo codes and somebody ends up getting 150% off their order. So if they do something, if they process this one, then they can't do any other promo codes that are subsequent to that. So this process sequence becomes very important when you have a whole bunch of promo codes. And you could set a sequence number if you had more than one. You could set them in sequence order of the way you wanted them to be applied. So if somebody got 20% off their cart, and then they had another promo code where they got another 5% off their cart, then they would only get 5% off of the discounted price that they already had. They wouldn't get 5%, an additional 5% off the entire cart, just off of the discounted price. Another way that's used a lot is a lot of sites have promo codes for free shipping, but you have to order $50 or $100 worth of products to get free shipping. So what they will do is they will, if you have a % off promo code, they will apply that first, and then after that percentage has been taken off, you still need to meet the minimums for free shipping. And so the percentage discount would be a lower sequence number than the free shipping sequence number. That way you don't give somebody more discounts than you intended to give them. So I have that here. We'll see what that does. Matter of fact, let's go take a look at that right now. If I go to my online shop, this item now shows that it's on sale. And if I view the item details, down here at the bottom, it has the text that I put in the promo, the group code saying save 20% on USB-C adapters through 6/1/19. So that text actually shows up for the customer on there. This other thing you see here where it says regular and gold-plated, you know, sometimes you have little connectors that have gold-plated ends. I was messing around with this, but this is actually not the way you would want to do this, because this allows you to enter something, and that's not really what you want there. It's a different kind of option. There's an option where I could have somebody select a regular or gold-plated radio button to select a subtype of the product, and that's not what I did here. This is where somebody can enter some information they need to give to the seller. And that's probably beyond what we need to get into for right now. But you can see it is, you know, $15, 20% off of that gives us the $12 sale price. So it is applying that discount for everything in the cool stuff category. If I go back to my online shop and go to the cool stuff category, you see I only have one product in there. Obviously, I expect whatever categories that you have in your fully functional store, you'll have a lot more than one product in a category. I have some dummy products in here and another one and one down here just that I use to demo some things, but none of those get the discount, just the product in the cool stuff category. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to, I set up that other promotion there. This 5% off any purchase, and that's great, but how does anybody know, and who does it apply to? Who do I want to target with that promotion? And that's where the use of a splash page and or a banner ad comes into play. So we can create marketing tools to advertise these coupon codes. So I got a coupon code there that I'm going to use. Let's go ahead and set up an ad that's going to give somebody give somebody that 5% off discount. And let's say that in particular we wanted to target for this ad, that we wanted to target new customers to our website. We're not really that interested in targeting people that are already buying from our website. We want to get new customers to use that discount code. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a graphic. It's a Memorial Day thing. I'm going to look for a U.S. flag, find an image of a U.S. flag. Hey, why not use this first one right here? I'm going to save it on my computer. It doesn't really matter where I save it. I'm going to save it on my computer, and then I'm actually going to open it. And you have better editing tools on your systems than I do in mine. I'm just going to open it with Paint. Oh, can't read that kind of file. Pick the wrong one. So let me go find, I want something a little, That one's a JPEG. It'll probably work. So I'll open it in Paint. And that is that one. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to crop it. I don't need to crop it. Zoom in. And I'm just going to put some text over the top of this flag. Again, this is just a quick demo of how you might do this. Pick a size of text that looks appropriate. I think that's the way I put that there, and let me make that opaque, and that's probably good enough. I might, if I was really going to put this on an active website, I might spend a little more time cleaning it up and making it more perfect, but this will be good enough for our purposes. So I'm going to save that. I don't see any reason to change the name, so I'll just save it at that. The quality, I probably needed a higher resolution picture, but that'll be fine. You get the idea of what I'm doing there. I'm just taking a graphic, adding something to it. Oops, didn't intend to do that. Open my website back up. Pick up my glasses that I dropped on the floor while I'm getting that up here. All right, so I'm back on my website. And I'm going to take that graphic that I just made, and the first thing I'm going to do is upload it to my website. And so if I go under Tools, I can upload a file. And generally, if I'm going to upload an image, it's probably a good idea to upload it to the Content folder. I could add it, or maybe the Images folder. I'll just add it to the Images folder. And in this case, you should have drag and drop capability to upload images to your website. And so that image should be here. And I'm just going to drag and drop it to my website. And I've uploaded an image to my website. So now that I have the image on the website, I want to display it. And I'm going to display it because I want it to show up for somebody the first time they come to the website. I'm going to display it on what's called a splash page. So the splash page is just a page you create, and I am going to go into Page Management and create a page in the root of my portal. And I don't see any reason to get too fancy here, so I'm going to call it Splash. The splash page doesn't need to be indexed. It doesn't need to be included in a menu anywhere. I'm not going to do anything else to it right now. We could put whatever we want on the splash page, but for right now, it's just a page. So I'm going to update the page settings, and then I'm going to go to the actual page. And there you have it, a splash page with nothing on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that image that I created. And I could do this a bunch of different ways. If I had several images that I wanted to display on a splash page, I might use something different than this. But actually, all I really need is this default HTML module that loads, and I'm going to say Edit Content, and it pulls up my editor. And one of the things in my editor is the ability to add an image. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to browse the server. And under Images, which is where I put the image, I have this thing there. And I'm just going to accept the default settings for everything. If I wanted to change the size, I could do that. I could stretch it and make it a different size, but I'm just going to go with the default for a demo purpose. And then I'm going to save this. And let me go back in and look at one thing here. I'll put it in the center. Right now, notice the splash page says it's visible by administrators only. So I do need to change that, otherwise no one will ever see it. And when I look at this graphic, I can see that by default it's not very big. I would probably want to choose a bigger graphic and make the text bigger accordingly if I was actually going to use this. So I'm going to go over here to, actually I can do that here. I can go to Page Permissions and say all users. I don't want to do registered. It's viewable by registered users, but It's viewable by all users because I want new users, in particular people that haven't registered, to use this page. And so now I have a splash page. So what do I do with this splash page to make it show up when somebody visits my website? Well, all I need to do really is go into the site settings, and under advanced settings, set the splash page to whatever I want to show. And somewhere down here in this list, I should have splash. And now that's set. I think I already hit update, but make sure. All right, so let's see what happens when somebody goes to my website. They get that splash page instead of going to the online shop, which is what you used to get. And so now they will get this splash page every time they go to their website. Well, that's great, but maybe I only want this splash page to show for a few seconds with some important things, and then I want it to go on and go to my regular home page, which is actually set to the online shop. If I go in here, wrong place. If I go in here, I'll see that my home page is set to online shop. So how do I get that splash page that shows up to go to there, which is what I really want, where I manually have entered it, and not show the splash page? Well, a couple of things. If I open, let's open another tab. And notice this time when I opened a tab, it went straight to my online shop instead of the splash page. And you're thinking, well, why did it go there instead of the splash page? Is the splash page not working? The splash page is working. What happens is once you have visited the site, that information is stored in a cookie, and you won't go to the splash page again. That's what makes this really good for if you're trying to target new users, is regular users to the site that already have a cookie from the site won't see that splash page ad. They won't know about that 5 off promo code, so you can target the users you really want to target. If I want that to show up, I either have to open a new browser window, so I'm doing Chrome here. Let me open Firefox. This computer's pretty slow, but I haven't been to the site in Firefox. So if I go into Firefox and go to the site, I should get the splash page. And there you go, I get the splash page. So that's how a splash page works. It only works the first time somebody goes to the site, and then you'll go to your regular home page. But let's say that I want that page to not come up and stay there. I want it to only go there for, say, 5 seconds, and then I want it to go to the regular, or 10 seconds, or whatever it takes somebody to read that page. I want it to go there for a certain time, and then I want it to move on to my product catalog. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to go under Page Management, and there's actually some very exact code that you can put in there to do that. And somewhere here, I think I put it here. I copied the exact syntax to make sure that I get it correct. Here it is under meta tags. what I have to do is put in a tag that tells the page to refresh after a certain amount of time and then go to a certain location. And so I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to do a couple of things. I know that's hard to see. So I'm going to open Notepad, and I'm going to paste this so that you can see what the HTML, this is called a meta tag. It goes in the header of the HTML page. And it's telling me essentially to refresh this page after 5 seconds and go to this URL. Now, I have multiple languages set up on my page. That actually causes a bit of a problem using this HTTP equiv tag. But I set mine to go to the English version of the page. Somebody will have to change languages manually if they don't want English. If you did not have multiple languages set up, you could simply do this. And that will go to your home page of your website, whatever your home page is. But since I have multiple languages up, I have to put that in there. Otherwise, it won't work. So that's what I'm typing in to this section you see over here where it says page header tags. I'm typing this tag in here, and that's going to be stored at the beginning of my HTML code for that web page. So it will be processed, and then I'll save that, update that. And that is now on my splash page. So let me do this. Let me clear cache. If I clear my cache, that gets rid of the cookies. And so now I don't have that cookie, so now I should be able to, if I go to the root of the website, I should get the splash page. And there you go, I get the flash page. And I set it to display for 5 seconds, and then it goes automatically, without me clicking on anything, to my product catalog. So that's a nice way to set up a promotion for a specific targeted group of users. So what about if you had a promotion that you wanted everybody to see? Maybe you have to be a registered user to see it. And so I'm going to log in to my website. And I'm the admin user, but you could set this so that any registered user could see it. So now we're going to have, not sure what happened there. It's waiting for my website. I may have lost internet connection here. Let me just try another website, see if I can get to another one. Okay, I can get to that one. Nothing I did there should have affected that, but sometimes that's what happens. Not sure why it didn't show my page there. Still trying to show my splash page. Even though it shouldn't. All right, there it is showing my splash page. It didn't get the updates that I applied. Something weird happened there, but anyway, we see it seems to be working now. So what I want to do is set up a promotion now that registered users can see. So maybe what I do is I put a promo code on a page that only registered users can see. Only registered users can see the promo or the favorites page. So what if I go in here and add a banner to show the something to the registered user that they'll only see once they log into the website. The easiest way to do this, we used to do years ago, we used to basically get banner ads from a lot of external partners, and they would pay for every time that ad displayed on our web page, and we can still do that. But that's not the type of banner ad we're talking about today. We're talking about, rather than trying to monetize our website, we're talking about advertising something to your customers. And we typically don't want to use the type of banner ads that we use to monetize our website to advertise discounts to our customers, because our customers, quite frankly, ignore most of those banner ads. So what we want to do is add something to the page. So I'm going to go here, and actually I don't even need to go under there. I can just go under modules, and in my case I'm just going to add, an easy way to do that is to add let's do the 2XC app, and then the app I'm going to choose to put in the header of my page, I'm just going to do an image gallery. And I'm going to edit this, and just like I did before, I can add an image, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to use the same image. Obviously, I would want to have a different sale for my registered users versus new users to the site. And I could title this something. Call it a special promotion for our valued customers. And I'm going to do only one, but I could have, you've probably seen a lot of the websites, they have maybe 4 to 10 of these that they'll show in a slider. I forgot to put the actual image. I did put the image in there. It didn't show. What did I do? got a little tag there. I'm not sure why it doesn't like this. Maybe if I refresh the page, let's see. Go somewhere else and come back to that. That's not exactly what I want, but you get the idea. And that's typically the way we would do something for a registered user. And this is a type of banner ad. We could, again, go in just like we did with our other editing, and we could probably there's a lot of things that we could do to change the layout. There's other kinds of image tools within the two ISCS apps that we could do as well. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over that. So we have essentially a way that we can put a banner on a page at the top, and in this case I didn't have anything else. I have other stuff on this page, but it's not showing up because I don't have anything in my catalog. Let me go over here and add to favorites and make sure my favorites are still showing up. So I still have the favorites here, and I can click on this if I want to see it, and there's probably a way to make it show up differently, but that's one way to add a banner. We could add a banner simply with HTML as well. So let's see if I do that. So now I have, this is probably an HTML window anyway. Nope, not. It's the product display settings. So I'm going to add an HTML module at the top of this page. Actually, maybe this one. And I could do it this way, just like I did in the other one. I don't like where it's at. I can move it. I'm going to move it into the header pane. And now I see my favorites down here, and I see this in the header pane. And once again, I could have centered that. And provided a banner, and I could have put some text in there if I wanted to, so that add content doesn't show up. Maybe I want that before the image. And of course, you might not want to take up that much screen real estate with a promo thing. You could make a image that's wide and not very tall, that might be more appealing and lets them see more of what's further down the page. But once you understand the process of how to get it there, formatting it and setting it up is pretty easy. So you see here the discount that I applied with the promo code for a group purchase. Let's see if the promo code for a regular item if that actually works. So I'm going to check out. And choose something here. And then I'm going to put in that promo code, and I think if I remember how I entered it right, it's that. Let's see if that works. And there it shows my discount of $1.60. And so I got a discount off of the item. I have 2-day shipping selected. I don't like that. We'll make it much cheaper on shipping, save myself some money, and I could check out. And rather than logging into PayPal, I'm just going to do that, and it will show that my order has been completed. So that process does work, and my promo code for a percentage off works. And if I go back into my back office now, I'm logged out because I cleared the cache, and that logs you out when you clear the cache. And if I go in here under my promotions, it should show, it doesn't show that it's been used once. It should show that it's used once, but for whatever reason, it's not showing that. When you set up your promo codes, you might want to make sure you don't, whatever promo codes you plan to do, you might want to make sure you don't wait until the very last minute to try to set those up. They use something called the MB Store Scheduler module, and the Scheduler module only runs typically once a day. And so you want to make sure that you have plenty of time to make sure that it can process especially these sequences, to make sure that it processes them, because it won't start processing them until it's supposed to. And it typically runs once a day and does everything that's valid from that day and removes everything that's become invalid based on the ending date. But it only does that once a day. So you want to make sure you set those up prior to when you actually want them to go into effect. It's not a good idea to try to set them up. I'm doing one. I'm doing one group promotion as a demo, so the order doesn't matter. But if I were doing a bunch of them, the order would really matter. And you want to make sure that you leave time for the scheduler to figure out the right order to apply the codes in. Otherwise, you're asking for disaster. And so I think that's pretty much what I wanted to show you in terms of setting up a splash page and or a banner on a page to provide a promo code. If you have some graphics editing tools, I'm using Paint. You guys have a lot more available to you that you can do some graphics editing for that. You know, think about ways that you can incentivize buyers on your website and how you want to display codes and promotions and who you want them to apply to, and set that in your website. And remember the key things about the splash page, that you can make it redirect after a certain amount of time, but you have to use the HTTP header tag to do that, which is this one that I showed you. If you Google that, meta HTTP equiv, you'll find lots of examples of it. But this is the code that you see that I used that works. And the only difference for a lot of you, you don't have multiple languages set up. Maybe you do, I don't know, I have to go look. But if you don't have multiple languages set up, then you can simply do that. So that's the code that you need in the page header on your splash page to make it work so that it'll redirect. And keep in mind that the splash page only displays once per visitor, and it does that based on your whatever browser you're using. If there's a cookie stored for this website in your browser, the splash page will not display. If there's no cookie displayed, if you clear your cache and no cookie is stored, then it will display the splash page. If you want to get the splash page and you want to make sure that it shows up and you don't want to clear your cache, open an incognito window. The incognito window on Google Chrome or the equivalent in your other web browsers. Ah, they didn't bring up my splash page. I think I turned the splash page off actually while I was troubleshooting when my system hung up there for a minute. So now I have my splash page. Let me see, is that my incognito window? I'll close it. Open a new incognito window. And there I get my splash page. So that's an easy way to test and see if your splash page is working, is to open an incognito window or in private browsing or whatever, depending on whatever web browser you're using. And you don't have to mess around with clearing cache. Okay, one other thing I wanted to show you today. I know I'm getting kind of long in the lecture, but I wanted to talk about the way products are displayed in the catalog. If I go look at my catalog, and I should get the splash page because I just turned it on. I haven't been there since I turned it on. I look at the items that are displayed here, and I see this item starts with Z, this item starts with M, Y, Z, U, T, so they're not in alphabetical order. So what order do the products get displayed in the product catalog that the customer sees? And the answer is it's a combination of alphabetical order and category. So I have two categories. I have other stuff and cool stuff. Other stuff is the top category in the list, and then cool stuff. But in actuality, this one item here at the top of my list is a cool stuff item. All the rest of these items down here are more stuff or other stuff. So how do you set that up and get them to display in a particular order? And the answer is that you go here, the first thing you do is you go to the categories item, and you can arrange the categories in the order that you want them. For example, I have other stuff showing up ahead of cool stuff. But I can go here and click on this, and then when I click on the green arrow, now cool stuff shows up above other stuff. And so what that should do is when I refresh this, now cool stuff shows up above other stuff. But the other things are still in kind of a what appears to be a haphazard order. There is a way, and I always have trouble finding it, there is a way to actually look at the articles that are in each category and put them in the order that you want them to appear as well. It's not there. I remember where to do this. If I go here, you would think I would see the up and down arrows that I could order the products the way I want them, and yet I don't. There's a trick here. I have to select a category, and I'm going to use other stuff because it's the only one that has more than one product in it. And once I search for things in the other stuff category, now I get these up and down move arrows, and so I can say I want this USB Type-C cable to be the first item that shows up in this category. So now this should be the order of items that appear in my catalog because I placed this item here. I have to select a category in order to do that. I can't I don't get that option until I select a category, so it's kind of wonky. And in this example, I should see the USB adapter at the very end because I have this other category first in my category priority. Well, actually, I have cool stuff first, so I should see that first. So let's see what happens if I refresh my product catalog. And I still didn't get this. It's still down at the very end. One thing I may need to do to make that work is go under Admin and Tools and do a store validation. And I'm going to do one more thing just in case that page is cached in memory in my web browser, which it probably is. I'm going to open an incognito window, wait my 5 seconds, and actually got not what I intended to get. This should have been the first item in the list, and actually this should have been the first item in the list. It's almost like they're backwards. Not sure why that happened. But that is the process. I have to go through and figure out why I might have something set in the catalog. Doesn't look like I do. Try one more, well, I wasn't expecting to see them show up in this order because that's not the order that I have in my back office. You know what it looks like it's doing, even though I didn't select that, it looks like, well, no, not entirely. I was going to say it looks like prices of 0 are displayed at the beginning, and then $50 and then $1,000, but then these two are displayed at the end. Not sure why it's doing that. Move some other things around. Something's funny going on here. Notice it's not necessarily moving these where I tell it to move them. I end up doing this store validation quite a lot because it seems like it fixes a lot of problems. Doesn't necessarily seem like it's fixing this particular one. That one's only one item, so it should show up at the top. I'm going to try one more time to change my category order. Now I should have the category with 5 products first. I just close that and reopen it. It does work from time to time. I don't know why I'm having issues with it today showing up. But that's the basic process of how you determine the order that the items will display. Is you put them in there, and I must have something else that I don't have set right. I'll have to examine it and figure it out. But it should display them based on categories that you have, and then the order that they're in the catalog within that category, and you can see that it's not working for me. But if you're trying to do it, try to do it that way and see if you can set up your products the way you want them and get them to display. I'm going to try one more thing real quick. I may need to log in as the super user. And restart my website, and then we'll see if it changes the catalog order. And it looks like it did not. So I'm not sure why it's not displaying the catalog order correctly, but that's the general process of how it's supposed to be done. All right, I'm going to leave it off. Basically, we'll just say that if I ask you questions about product ordering, the order that products are displayed, we'll just say that basically you set the categories first, and then you set the order of the products within the category, and that's how you determine the display order for them. So I may ask you something about that on the quiz. That's the way it's supposed to work. And then I'll ask you a few questions about banner ads and splash pages and how they're set up. Other than that, on Friday, since half or more of you will be out of class, just continue working on your websites. I don't plan to add any new lecture material on Friday. And then on Monday, you'll have at least a quiz, and I may or may not have some lecture material for you. So we'll see what happens with that. And that's it for today.